10 things about e-bikes that need to change. Now it's 2025. The first thing is headset cable routing. It's really annoying. Now why is it annoying? Well, cables run through the headset, down past the fork and into the down tube or the top tube in some cases. First of all, you need to have extra protection inside the steerer tube to stop it rubbing on the cable. But the biggest problem is rerouting the cables and pulling out cables when you need to do quick maintenance or you want to swap your brakes over. I tried to install some new brakes. I had to strip the bike completely to put in a new rear brake. If cables exit on the either side of the headset, it's a lot easier. You don't have to faff, you don't have to take the fork out, you don't have to do lots of things. And I would say about 70% of brands are guilty of headset cable routing. Model years. In the car industry, Tesla do incremental updates on their cars. I would say the same thing is probably necessary in the bike industry. If you spend a lot of money on a bike, you would like to know that your bike will be relevant for a while, not out of date immediately the time that you've bought it. Because normally they announce new models for the new year in September. You get hold of them probably in January, February, which means you have 7 months and then your bike is out of date. Or the color's changed or something like that. There's a lot of brands out there that don't do that. So Tok, Trek, the motor companies don't do it. Bosch, Shimano, they don't have model years on their motors. They have a motor which stays relevant and current for sort of 5 years. We don't want the chaos of 2025 where the availability of bikes is really low because they made a mess of producing too many bikes in the years previously. Third point, cheap brakes and a good derailleur. For me, the most important thing is good braking. The derailleur is second. So if I see base level brakes on any e-bike, and I see a derailleur, which is an XT. And the most important thing is the brakes. So put on a high-level braking system, put on XT brakes, and give me an SLX or an NX derailleur. But you know, if you want to make my life easier, have a nice shifter. It will work fine. You won't notice the difference, and you will have smooth shifting experience. Now, this one maybe not anyone's ever thought about or said online, but that's why I've got this charger here. The Bosch charging port. Well, it's not just about the Bosch charging port, it's about all chargers. Now the Bosch charging port particularly, I don't know who's ever used one, but look at it. It's square, and when I try to plug it into my bike, right, here we go. Which way in does it go? It's a Bosch, so it should go with the dent here towards the top. And then you can put it in. But normally, you can't always see, like this, where you're plugging it in. Normally my bikes are parked in a garage, hard to get to, hard to plug in, it's dark, I can't feel my way to put that plug in, and it just doesn't go in easily. So the Bosch is a classic one where I end up having to turn it around a lot of times to try and find out which is the correct way. But this is not really a Bosch problem. Every bike brand, every motor brand has a different charger. It seems a little bit ridiculous. It would be much easier if all brands used a standardized charging system, a bit like USB-C, but for e-bikes. Saddle clamps on seat posts. Let me explain the seat post saddle clamp problem. So normally when adjusting seat posts or saddle clamps, this bolt is the back bolt is very easy to access, and you normally have no problem tightening it and getting the torque correct, especially if you're using a quality tool like one of these from Uzag. And the problem comes when we get to the front bolt, because sometimes, as you can see here, I put it in, and on this one it's not too bad. The end of the tool is very close to the hydraulic piston part. I'm risking scratching this every time I use it. Now if I use one of these, which is a trail tool, I mean they're in every shape and size out there, and I try and put this in there, and then I have a problem. Can't get enough angle on the saddle to adjust the seat post or tighten it up without actually rubbing into the seat post itself and scratching it. And I have scratched so many of these trying to adjust the saddle. This needs to change. This design, a bolt on the front, a bolt on the back, please get rid of it. Battery keys. I have in my toolbox lots of battery keys that I've lost and then refound. The time is over for, especially on electric mountain bikes, battery keys. Let's have a look in my toolbox. There it is. There's a misplaced battery key. I don't know for which bike it is. If you need your battery key for your e-bike, please come and claim it from me. Large bar remotes. You might have seen a lot of remotes that are nice and small and slim on the left-hand side. And then suddenly you've got these big fat remotes which stick out. First of all, if you turn the bike upside down for some reason, you risk every time damaging your remote because they're very, very big. Simple, small, discreet remote on the left is enough. My favorite one, false marketing. Right, e-bike companies love to say that their bike has, I don't know, progressive suspension, or they say that the tires give you extra grip, or it tells you that it has 1,000 watts of power when it only actually has 1,000 watts for a few seconds, and that might not be necessarily good. I mean, the best one is, I can read you a line. Conversation I had with a motor developer from one of the big bike companies, and they said this: if we talk power, then we wake up regulators, which will ask why we are above 250 watts. And trail access will become an issue. Right, this brings me on to another point. Unserviceable motors. It's a bicycle. I don't want to have to find myself getting stressed because of the cost or the difficulty in repairing my motor when it goes wrong. It would be nice that I have a full service manual available online with all of the parts available to order from my local dealer or even online, so that I can service and fix my motor easily on my own at home. This would be a fantastic thing to do. All motors should be easy and thought about their design when building them in the first place, so that you can service them at home alone once they've gone out of warranty. My last thing about e-bikes that needs to change, and this is a favorite one. Normally this happens in the medium range to low price range bikes, and you see a nice bike with good specifications and they fit lightweight tires. Got here the example of a lightweight versus heavyweight tire. So this is an enduro tire. It's a Vittoria Mazza race, very thick, heavyweight tire. Feels good, feels strong in the hand. And this comes mounted on some bikes. Now, this is a knobby nick that came installed on an e-bike. It feels about half the weight of that one. And it's very flexible, very thin. If you don't get your pressures right, or you hit the rocks wrong, and in fact, I punctured one of these after the first descent on an e-bike I was testing. Brands tend to use these lightweight tires as a way to get the headline weight of the bike down, giving again a false impression of how heavy this bike is. So if you're listening, brands, please don't fit lightweight tires anymore. And we need tires that will resist our aggressive riding and also our mistakes. Right, I hope this list has been interesting. If you've got any thoughts that I've missed, I'm sure there's others out there. Don't forget to write them in the comments below and give me a like, and I will see you on the next video.